Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Startup Change Leaders weekly call. And as we had union budget announced by the finance minister recently, so we thought it is very apt topic for us to discuss in this meeting of ours. So we'll try to keep it as interactive as possible so that we, understand the nuances of the budget. And of course, whenever you have any question, please feel free to uh, raise your hand and we will take it up. So, in the meanwhile, I'll request everyone to please keep yourself on mute. And as I mentioned, we are live on Facebook as well. So I'm Rajiv Bajaj. I run a company called Bajaj and Bajaj Corporate Chambers. We are based in Delhi and Noida. I'm past council member of ICSI, and of course, I was chairman for the North India in 2012. And also, I was part of Panasonic earlier, so I was vice president of SEMA, which is Consumer Electronics and Appliance Manufacturer Association. So I had a good stint in industry association as well. So let's look at what budget means for startup. Of course, budget is important for all of us in all spheres of life, whether it is SME or startup. But this budget has been showing a lot of focus for startups, and a lot of good announcements are there. So let us understand what are those announcements, what are those government schemes which are likely to come, and how that is going to impact us. And of course, when finance minister was addressing, so she mentioned that we are going to be third largest startup ecosystem of the world. So that means a lot because as it is, India has now more than 84,000 startups. And out of that, 110 are unicorns. So that shows the kind of focus government is also having on startups, and the way these startups are flourishing because of this support, and a lot of entrepreneurship is being encouraged by the government. And of course, we all are witness to that. So also they have made promises to bid a lot of boosting for the startup, and there is a concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So kindly put yourself on mute, Priyanda. All right. So if you look at the budget announcement, budgetary announcement, um, Indian startup community welcomed that because they announced the extension of tax holiday um, by a year, where loss can be carried forward for 10 years period. But at the same time, there was a lot of expectation that some initiative to give boost to ESOP schemes, because the industry was asking for tax exemption on ESOP, because what happens is when the ESOP is given to the employees, it becomes taxable in the hands of the employee at the time of vesting. So the startup community and SMEs in general, they were representing to the government that the ESOP the taxation part should be taken care, that it should not be becoming taxable in the hands of employee immediately. So that part, no announcement came. So this is a bit of disappointment for the startup ecosystem. But nevertheless, there are other ways also to manage that. People are now coming up with SARs, which is another way of giving, ESOP to your key employees. And we'll talk about it later. But yes, that is another very interesting topic to talk about. Maybe we'll take it up in one of our sessions later. Now, as mentioned, that we have a lot of focus on innovation. We have the focus on the income tax benefits. Of course, the finance minister announced that carry forward losses can be, 1 year more is given for carry forward losses, which is for 7 years for startups incorporated within the period of 10 years. So let's look at what are the major announcements in the budget. Now, first, of course, they said that PAN is going to be a common digital identifier with almost all the government agencies. In any case, PAN is recognized, but it is going to be more, they are going to put more focus on that wherever you are actually doing the transactions, you have to put your PAN number and it will become a digital identifier for you. Then the incorporation date for startups for IT benefits has been extended from 31st March 23 to one more year extension has been given to March 31, 2024. So this is a welcome move everybody was expecting. The other announcement was 100 labs to develop apps and 5G services, and 3 AI centers of excellence are being planned by the government. So this means that we are going to have more of basically 5G services expansion, and also last time also we talked about Chat GPT and other AI devices which are coming up in a big way. Now, those are the areas where we are going to have big excellence centers coming in India for doing research on AI, and a lot of AI products and AI tools are going to be developed. And government is also very keen that India should become kind of a superpower for AI development. And as you know, that already software development, we have lots of to talk about. We are having most of the smart IT companies of the world are also employing Indians at the helm of affairs. So I think the supremacy of Indians in AI driven technology is already well received by everyone. So we are going to talk about it more. Then there is a expansion of the concept of DigiLocker, which will allow more docs to be transferred online. So they have expanded the scope of DigiLocker, and you keep your documents there, so you can utilize it better. And of course, for agri-tech startups, there is a lot of big announcements made. So Accelerator Fund has been established for agri-tech startups. So that means government is giving more and more fillip to the agri-based startups with the idea that the agriculture economy should be given boost through these startups. So now the best part is that the government is now utilizing the entrepreneurship and the innovation in various areas, and they are trying to give fillip to the economy through the startup ecosystem. So the confidence of the government has increased a lot with people responding to their call of establishing startups. So We have come a long way from 2014, when there were only few hundred startups to 82,000 plus startups now. So that means we are India as a country is becoming startup hub, and more people are thinking about establishing startups. More and more people are thinking about coming up with a new idea of a startup, and that is creating an ecosystem for all of us. And that is why we have been running this community for almost 3 years now. We call it Startup Change Leaders. So we are also trying to bring some change and leadership positioning in the startup ecosystem. And of course, we try and spread knowledge about what is happening in the startup ecosystem and how to handle those things. And that is why we are talking about this budget. And also, there is a lot of focus on EV based startups. So custom duty exemption on lithium ion battery cell manufacturing has been given. So this will give boost to a lot of mobility and EV startups and green energy. So ESG is a flavor of the day. So people are now talking about green energies. So that is what is included in the FM's announcement. So if you look at the key highlights, one, of course, the startups will be allowed to carry forward their losses from 7 years of incorporation to 10 years. Now, tax holiday date has been extended by a year. The agriculture fund we have already talked about. The in biosciences, the government will set up around 10,000 bio resource centers to enable 1 crore farmers to do natural farming. Now, there's a huge focus of the government of India to promote natural farming and reduce the consumption of fertilizers and pesticides for doing the farming. So this is, they are going to have a lot of research, encouraging a lot of companies to do research on biosciences and try and, enhance the bio diversity of India. And of course, they have given a lot of fillip to the agri sector. So I think that is something we can talk about more. And so there's a huge opportunity for the startup ecosystem in agri space. And also, they have given more funds to fund for startup scheme, startup seed fund scheme, and credit guarantee scheme for startups. And so this will solve the funding problem of the startup at various stages and give a lot of support to them. So as that carry forward and set of losses is a common pain area for all startups. So they have granted some flexibility for eligibility as mentioned in section 81AC of the Income Tax Act. And also, the continuity of 51% shareholding condition does not apply for eligible startup if all shareholders of the company in which losses was incurred continue to hold those shares on the last day of previous year in which the loss is to be set off. So, if there is no major change in the, shareholding pattern of the startup, so the income tax eligibility can be, claimed. And of course, there is an additional condition that loss may be set off only if it was incurred during 7-year period beginning with the year in which the company was incorporated. So as you know that there is a you know tax holiday also available for there is a tax 3-year tax holiday available to startups, and they can choose the years in which they want to avail those tax holidays. But carry forward and set off of losses is another thing which is available. I think Atul is here. We'll ask him to talk more about it. And of course, you need to align this period. That is something government has given as a relief. Now, the tax holiday is the most important thing because that gives the benefit to all the startup. So this was launched in 2017, this scheme, and now the government extended this scheme by another year. So government feels that the tax holiday scheme is very, very important and is required by startups, and it is a way to support the startup ecosystem. So they have extended it by another year. So that's a very welcome move. I think startup community, welcome this with very open hands. Now, let's come to the little bit more on sector specific changes which are announced. One, agriculture accelerator fund um, has been announced. Now, what is this, agriculture accelerator fund? Basically, this is to encourage the agri startups. We all understand that. And government wants to bring in a lot of technology in the agriculture space. They are trying to, invite a lot of young entrepreneurs and other entrepreneurs as well, who can come and make this agriculture sector more and more technology oriented. Now, a lot of innovation and affordable solutions, can be offered for the challenges which are being faced by the farmers. We had I have been talking to one of our close friend who is very much active into agri space, and he was sharing with me that there is a huge amount of agri products which go waste because they don't get enough cold storages. They don't get enough prices at the right time. So when suppose at the harvesting time, potatoes, for example, if they are not consumed or they are not kept in the cold storage, or they are not actually bought by someone who can utilize them for manufacturing of various like potato chips or something, they may go waste because the shelf life is not that much, right? So that's just one example. So many commodities are there where the agri products are getting waste, and India is an agriculture based economy. We have a huge percentage of population which is actually depending on agriculture and agriculture products. So they are to be given support, and not only by giving them cold storages, by improving the logistics, by improving the their capability for knowing the latest developments which are happening in the startup, and a lot of innovation is possible. Innovation is something which every one of us is aware can change the entire. So all the startup concept as such is that you need to have innovative ideas, you need to have innovative mind, you need to solve a problem. and there's always a white space which exists where there is a problem. We just now were talking to Mr. Gupta. He said that they are coming up in a digital marketing space. And I work with a lot of SME entrepreneurs of through my association with Walmart and a couple of other SME communities. So I know that the biggest problem for most of the SME is how to sell, how to the how to achieve get the leads for their digital marketing, for their e-sale or e-commerce sale which they do. So there's a huge space available for So today I just received a new announcement about a startup which is into local kitchen service, right? So they have created a portal because every area has local, like Zomato is connecting the restaurants. They are trying to connect all the local kitchens to the people. So they will have on their portal people who are looking for home cooked food, and there are people who are providing home cooked food service. So they'll bring both of them on the common platform, and they can kind of do the transaction with each other. So always there is a possibility of getting into a business idea where there is a gap, and there is a problem, and that problem statement has a solution, and you come up with that solution for making sure that people gain out of it. So that is what the government is also trying to do. Agriculture has a big problem where lot can be done, lot needs to be done, and so the modern technology can be used by the techies to apply their mind, look where are the gaps, where are the problems, and transform agriculture practices for increasing productivity and profitability. Maybe a lot of logistic planning can be done for making sure that the produce of the farmers is not wasted. At the same time, giving them inputs on latest developments in the technology. Israel has a lot of agriculture based startups. So try and see what are they doing. Even I was told that drones are being used in a big way in the agriculture fields to do the needful and sprays and whatever. So there is a huge scope and huge potential for having digital public infrastructure for agriculture, and it will have an open source, open standard, and of course it will be in interoperable platform for public good, where people can go, people can even sell their produce online, people can trade on their with people. So this system of we had government came up with some agriculture reforms, but that was again for best reasons best known to our political system. Although it was very excellent, farm laws were very interesting and excellent, but they were not appreciated. But at the same time, the intent of the government is always to help the farmers, and that is what is visible in this budget also. So they are now trying to create a digital platform where all the e-commerce can also happen, and of course this will enable farmer-centric solutions through relevant information services for crop planning and for the health of the crop, and of course improved access to them for farm inputs, credit and insurance as well, because farmer insurance is also very important, and sometimes they face a lot of challenges because of natural calamities. So that is again something they are trying to give a fillip to, and the market intelligence is very important for the farmers. So that is what they are trying to bring in the agricultural economy. And of course, there is an accelerator fund which is going to support all these startups. And how many of us are aware that 20 lakh rupees grant is being given by Government of India for all these startups. If your startup is really good, you can go to Startup India website and you can register yourself, and you can be eligible for getting a grant of 20 lakh rupees. And also there is a very low rate of interest loan which is available up to 50 lakh rupees. If you are eligible for that and your startup is chosen for that. So these are the ongoing practices which government is already doing. And I know one of my own startup in EV space, we got the grant from SPTBI in Mumbai. So and we are based in that startup is based in Bangalore. So it's across geographies they are funding. It's not that you need to be present in that area only. So if you are really good, if you are really, your idea is really innovative, your idea is actually something which people will sit back and look at, definitely you will get a grant from government. So and they have decentralized the process a lot. The grants are given by the various Atal Innovation Mission guys who are all across the place. So in India, there are more than I think 70 such players. So you can choose who are the best people to approach and who will understand your startup, and then accordingly, even IIT Delhi has incubation center. So accelerator and incubators list is available on Startup India website. So you can go there and find for yourself who will be the best for you, and you can approach them, and you can choose actually 3 such people who you would like to present your case or startup, and then of course go through that process of selection, and you will get this. So also the agri-tech startups operating in this space have been chosen. Now this is another bio input resource center which government has announced. So the central government has always emphasized on promoting organic and natural farming. We all know that. And of course, they are also working on increasing the quality of crops and other farming products. So so they have made special provision in the budget of 23-24. And now they announced that for the period of next 3 years, 1 crore farmers will get assistance from government to adopt natural farming. So that's quite a lot. So they are going to have schemes running for farmers for supporting them and giving them assistance for adopting natural farming. Also, 10,000 bio input resource centers will be set up to assist the promotion of natural farming, and this will be they'll create national level distributed micro fertilizer and pesticides manufacturing network. Earlier, a lot of fertilizer subsidies and such things were going on. Now this government has done away with all those uh, environment where a lot of corruption was happening, honestly speaking, in that area. But they have become more and more transparent. They are actually giving support to the farmers directly. And the one good thing is that even with the they announced that okay, the funding will go directly to the farmer, not there are no intermediaries, there are no people who may take advantage of that or so to say, rather misuse that. So that is something is very important, and that is where I think the government's intent is quite visible, that they are there to support the farming community. Now, let's look at what is the allocation to the various schemes. As you know, Fund of Funds for Startup scheme is there, where they have allocated 1,000 crores for that. Now, this is that they are giving funds to various Atal Innovation Mission or various bodies which are doing funding for the startups. So it's a fund of fund. These money is being pumped into the economy so that further fillip can be given to the startups. So 1,000 crores is a huge amount for given by the government to support the Startup India initiative. Then, of course, Startup India Seed Fund Scheme, as I was mentioning, the grants and the seed funding is also available. They have allocated 477.25 crores for that. And there is a credit guarantee scheme for the startups, where government is giving them collateral-free loans. So through, of course, the banking channels and other channels. So up to 2 crores of rupees collateral-free loan is available. So there is a possibility of getting into that. So you as a you know uh, consultant also, if some of us are having our own startup, we can if you want to know more about this, you are free to connect with me. I'll be very happy to support you on this, how to apply for these grants. Now the ease of doing business, as we all know that so they have announced a lot of measures. More than 39,000 compliances have been done away with. So as you know that the people are always talking about that doing business in India is not that easy. So so they have been very kind in announcing this, that okay, we are going to have the ease of doing business, and of course the reduction in more than 39,000 compliances is a very welcome step. So they are trying to reduce number of forms you have to file. For example, in ROC also you have lots of forms, although MCA is facing some trouble these days, very difficult to do the filings. But also they have done is decriminalization of more than 3,000 legal provisions. There were many provisions which were having criminal penalties and jail and things like that. So what they are trying to do is, okay, decriminalize those provisions so that the it should not become a deterrent for people take chance and do business. No? So sometimes people are scared that, okay, if I do business, I may face this kind of a situation that I may be, having some criminal cases filed against me or something. So they are trying to make things easy for the, overall ecosystem. So startups are part of ecosystem. So this is a welcome move for all the entrepreneurs who are trying to do business. And the PAN as a common identifier for all digital systems. We have already discussed this part. And DigiLocker, where digital document storage capabilities to enable storage of document digitally, and there will be ease to process the digital application for credit for SMEs, MSMEs, and even startups. So, so this is again something which is a very welcome move. And one more thing they have announced for MSMEs is that if the MSME, the payment to MSME, as you know, has to be made within 45 days. But what they used to claim it as an expenditure, but used to pay later. But now they have come up with a provision that you have to first pay, only then it will be eligible for the deduction. So that means they are indirectly helping MSME that their money doesn't get stuck and they get money back from from whatever they are dealing with, their clients and customers. So the payments to MSMEs have to be given on priority by the large companies. So that is another welcome move. And of course, ease of doing business will attract a lot of global players to invest in India. And a lot of, states are also these days doing a lot of activities for investing in their particular state. UP has announced Invest UP Meet Global Investor Summit, which is happening on, I think, 10th to 12th. I'll also be participating in that next week. So like that, now it's a very good thing to see that the states are also having their own targets. UP has said 1 trillion economy target for itself for a state. So whereas we earlier we used to listen to that, okay, India wants to be 3 trillion economy or something, but here is a state having its own target of so 1 trillion economy, so that's very positive thing to listen to. And of course, if the state is working positively towards one direction, each state, Madhya Pradesh also announced and had their global summit, investor summit. So like that, each and every state is now trying to become create a ecosystem where they are trying to attract investments, and when the investments will come, employment will be generated, and more business expansion will happen. So so this is something we all know is likely to give a boost and fillip to the business. Now, the AI and 5G will become more than buzzwords. The finance minister announced that 3 centers of excellence for artificial intelligence research and development are likely to be established, where this will give a boost to startup working in emerging technologies. So a lot of emphasis on technology-based startups and helping them grow is there. And also country's vision to make AI in India and make AI work for India. We all know the power of AI. So AI is definitely going to change the way we think, the way we operate, and to give it a boost, 5G, you know, so there are going to be 100 labs for developing application using 5G services. And of course, engineering institutes will be given more, money for developing smart classrooms, precision farming, intelligent transport systems, healthcare applications, and a lot of AI and machine learning things are going to be, uh, encouraged. So this is what broadly the budget was, but more than that, there was a lot of music to the ears on personal taxation front. Income tax rebate limit has been increased to 7 lakhs under the new tax regime. That means that if you are having an income up to 7 lakh rupees, you can be, you know, uh, you don't have to pay taxes if you are doing that saving and all those things. And of course, the basic exemption limit has been increased from 2.5 lakh rupees to 3 lakh rupees. The slabs are also changed. It's nil for 3 lakhs. From 3 lakhs to 6 lakhs, just 5%. From 6 lakhs to 9 lakhs, it is 10%. 9 lakhs to 12 lakhs, 15%. 12 to 15, it is 20%. And above 15 lakhs, it's 30%. So the people who fall in this bracket of up to 9 lakh rupees, or 12 lakh rupees also, they have been, there's a substantial saving which they are going to have in terms of the tax which they pay to the government of India. So that should be music to the ears of many. So this is kind of election promise, looks like, because next year the budget may be coming later and elections may get announced. So they have done all these softs are given this year itself to everyone. And of course, the surcharge has also been reduced to 25% from 37%. The new income tax regime. So, as you know, there were two regimes going on. You had a choice whether you want to choose the earlier regime or the new regime. Now, new tax regime will become default regime, and although option to pay tax under old tax regime has been kept open, but you will. The way it is structured now, it is always better to go ahead and adopt the new one. And of course, there's a proposal to cap deduction of capital gain investment on residential houses up to 10 crores. There were few other changes also on TDS. I think there is a new announcement is that, okay, up to 10,000 rupees earlier, you don't have to deduct TDS, but now they have expanded that scope. On foreign remittances, TCS earlier were 5%, now it has become 20%. So these are the other two changes which I thought I must share with all of you. So one, if you are doing foreign remittances, you need to understand that there has to be a TCS deduction for foreign remittance. So it is a forward-thinking and a positive tone budget. It's pro MSME and startup, especially knowing India is a home for third largest startup companies in the world. India is emerging as a global startup hub, and of course, this budget will pave way for this opportunity. And of course, special focus on AI to take us to the 5 trillion economy. So that's what the government has tried to do. So I'll now leave the floor open for questions. Anyone with any questions, please.
Hi, Rajiv ji, as usual, Sanjay Diwan here.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes,
I'll
sir.
be
Sanjay.
asking you very basic questions. I mean,
Yes, yes,
anyhow,
please.
but I will still ask. Uh, when you say there's a tax holiday
Mhm.
to carry your loss forward for 10 years, what do you mean by that?
That means, the uh, when you incur a loss, you cannot actually, uh, carry forward that loss endless period, right? So the loss can be adjusted in future years, right? So they have given special leverage to startups that they can carry forward that loss for up to 10 years, so that if there is a loss in 1 year, that can be adjusted in the next year profits by the startup.
I understand. But if we don't carry forward, then what happens? Loss is a
You,
loss.
no, loss is a loss, but it is in our own interest to carry it forward, so that next year, if we have to pay tax and we are having income, so
Mhm.
at least we can adjust, and our tax amount will get reduced by that much, where we already incurred loss. So we can adjust that loss against our income.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
good
yeah.
more for accounting.
Yeah. It is better for all companies welcome this move, because it's good for them. And as you know, in startup ecosystem, we do incur losses, so those can be adjusted against future profits.
Okay. And then my question was, in case we were not adjusting those losses, then
I don't think that is prudent, because you then you have to pay tax. No, you
you have
cannot.
to pay tax and you have to incur the loss also. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. Now you
Yeah.
say this extending the incorporation date for startups to 31st March 2024. What do we mean by
Yeah.
this?
Basically, the startups which are incorporated, up to earlier, it was all up to 23. If they are incorporated, they are, they can avail that the tax holiday benefit.
I see.
Now
Okay.
the tax holiday benefit is now extended by 1 more year. So those who will be incorporated up to 2024, they will also be able to achieve that tax benefit.
And what is the measurement of incorporation?
Incorporation means when your ROC, certificate of incorporation, is taken, or your LLP is formed. So incorporation is like a birth certificate for the organization, right?
So it does
So
not apply to partnership or
no, when we go to Startup India, they ask for either you should be LLP or you should be
private.
incorporated. Yes. So you need to have that incorporation certificate with you. So that is what it means.
So if we are incorporated as a partnership, we need to change it to LLP before 31st March 2024
That's right. It is
to
it is
be
better.
recognized as a startup. Okay.
Yes. Then you must go to Startup
Then we
India.
can avail all those things. Okay.
Yes. Then you have to also register yourself in Startup India portal. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Sanjay ji. Any other questions, please?
Yeah, yeah. Could you just explain what is this fund of fund and the seed fund?
Seed fund is the as you know, that seed capital, seed, the word terminology we have used many times. So the grants are given out of the seed fund, no? And fund of fund is available to, SIDBI has a lot of schemes for funding startups, or so fund of fund is for funding those bigger institutions which are into startup funding. Okay, so the government of India is having multiple funds to support the startup ecosystem. So
Hmm.
they have done bigger allocation this year for encouraging the financial institutions, as well as the various Atal innovation missions which are working for the expansion of startups. and there are a lot of accelerators who apply to the government of India that, okay, they should be given grant, and then that they further distribute that money to the various startups. So so it is kind of, they are pumping money into the ecosystem for boosting the funding or financing which is available to the various startups.
Yeah, thank you. And when you say like up to 7 lakhs, there is no tax. That means we have to invest in ATC and.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
So the basic up to 3 lakh rupees nil tax, and as I showed you the chart, no? Then 3 lakhs to 6 lakh, if your income is falling in this, then it is 5%, and 6 to 9 it is 10%. So you have to follow the slabs.
Yeah, but how, like up to 7 lakhs, like we can.
I mean, yes, total amount. If you are saving, and if you are having ATC and some
NP.
standard deduction, so after that you need not pay tax if you are doing all that tax planning. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how will we know like the new tax is like how can we calculate whether the new tax is better for us or the old tax is better for that? Is there
you can use the calculation mechanism of both, depending on what are your actual investments and what are your actual otherwise if you're not able to do that, it's easy. But if you're not able to do it, then some tax expert you can connect with, so they'll be very easily doing it.
Okay.
It's not very complicated.
Okay. And the last point here, proposal to cap that 10 crore. Could you just like, suppose I buy a house?
Yeah. Deductions on capital gain on investments in residential houses. No. So sometime you have a capital gain, and you once again put it in the residential house, right? So earlier there was no capping on, you may put your entire capital gain in the house, but now they have put a cap of 10 crores. It should not be more than 10 crores. If it is more than 10 crores, it will not be allowed.
Okay, suppose if that capital gain is 10 crore, I can buy a next house for up to 10
10. Yeah.
And how do you say like there's a substantial reduction in taxes up to 12 lakhs?
Up to
12 lakhs.
Up to 12 lakhs means, I think this is basically these slabs. If you look at these slabs, earlier these slabs were higher, right? 3 lakhs to 6 lakh was 10%, I believe. So like that, they have reduced the rates for up to 12 lakh. Sorry, there's a lot of background noise. Can you kindly put yourself on mute? And then, this more than 15 lakhs, there's no change. It's 30%. So that's why it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And like there were a lot of benefits for this natural farming. So like 10,000 bio is being set up. That means whatever waste we collect, they will use it in the agriculture.
No, biotechnology is not only that, but there are a lot of technical developments are also being done, so that the natural farming is there, and you reduce the use of pesticides and others. So that is why it is like that.
No, I didn't understand. Like they're putting 10,000 centers.
Yes, 10,000 centers to encourage and teach the farmers how to do, use less fertilizers and how to do better farming by using biotechnology.
Okay. Thank you.
Rajiv,
yeah, please.
Sorry, please complete.
No, please, aap bataएं.
Ease of doing business.
Ji.
Now, actually, It is very frightful to know that 39,000 compliances have been reduced.
Ji, ji.
So can you tell us how much are still left?
There are so many because in India there are huge compliance mechanisms are very big now. So we also have to still analyze what are these 39,000 because they were announced by the finance minister in the budget speech itself. But you know. Uh, there are so many forms, there are so many returns which we have to file on regular basis. So they are trying to reduce all that so that and maybe when they say 39,000 reduced, maybe they have combined the forms or something. I'm not sure what exactly is, but
No,
they,
I'm dreading that there may be 1 lakh still pending, you know.
yeah.
So it is really not ease of doing business. I mean, this is a very big deterrent for a foreigner to come to India.
Yes, but of late they are focusing on this area and gradually reducing the compliance burden on the. They have already done quite a lot on in this front, but they are continuing with that journey of making India as a hub for investment. So and also let me tell you now, a lot of investment is pouring into India, and that is what these summits are all about. So
Just to tell you about a summit, these summits are not new. They have
yeah,
been going on through 80s and 90s.
yes.
I have attended one such summit in Madhya Pradesh when Digvijay Singh was the chief minister.
Okay.
It was
All
at
right.
Khajuraho.
Okay.
We had a good holiday, 3 days, huge announcements,
Yeah.
50,000 crore and this and that investments. If you
Right.
look down the line after 3 years, 5 years, nothing comes in. Everybody
Anyway.
enjoys those things. I hope things change now because
Yeah. I don't wish to comment on individuals, but yes, the location itself talks about that it was more of a holiday. But anyway, we are quite hopeful, and the way I was addressing a forum recently, and to make everyone understand, I said the way economy of Sri Lanka and Pakistan are behaving, if you just compare their situation, you will be very happy that we are in a much better situation, right? So I don't have to explain too much after that, and it was well understood. So I think the government is trying to handle things in a very positive way,
I
and
understand. Yeah, they are trying to do so much. It's really
yeah,
appreciable. But
and
I was looking at the numbers. It was a frightful thing for me to know that so many compliances exist.
yeah, there
I
are,
mean, so it will be
and
interesting to know how many are left.
Sure. It is definitely more than around 1 lakh or so. But anyway, we are trying to make things easy for the
And if
entrepreneurs.
3,000 are decriminalized, so
Yes,
still
yes,
there'll be a lot of more which will be criminalized.
yeah.
So
So
this,
that
makes as an entrepreneur me very, edgy.
of course, the compliance, of course, is important also in so many ways.
I
So
mean,
that
sometimes you miss a compliance not by choice but by oversight, and then
yes,
you are holed up for it, and so your focus on business shifts away to all these things.
yeah. Anyway, so but I agree that the compliances need to be very um, important, and we all are there to support to make sure that the entrepreneurs don't have pressure of compliances. That is why people like us exist, so don't
Thank
worry
you.
about it. Don't worry about
Thank We
it.
need your support.
Yeah. All right.
Second,
Atal,
on the income tax, just one comment. I think so. up to 7 lakhs, there is no tax or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
The moment you have 7 lakh 1,000, you suddenly start paying taxes.
Of course, you
I
know,
think so
you have
that's
to,
where they need to work a little bit on it.
absolutely. Atul, your comments on the budget overall?
This budget is definitely one of the best which could have been presented during this time. Everybody thought that this is the budget which would be more focused on giving the lot of freebies and the kind of giveaways in order to win over the masses at large, because this is a pre-election year budget. But then the three things which stand out is that the government has taken the onus of spending on the infrastructure side despite all these challenges. So good 33% incremental allocation on the capex side from the government side. And the second is that they have gone on the path of fiscal consolidation despite all these challenges.
Yeah,
So that is another big takeaway from this budget. So it's a budget in which, and the third, of course, is a big push on the agri side, which is in any case a backbone of the economy at large.
But
absolutely.
I think they could have done more for startups. This is what I feel.
Yeah, they have given, good amount of fillip in this to the startup ecosystem in the past 6-7 years, and the fact that this is now on an autopilot mode, they want to basically capitalize upon the digitizations and giving the incremental benefits wherever it is needed. And last thing I would like to say is that budget is a statement of intent, basically. So what happens outside the budget also is equally or sometimes more important.
Absolutely. I agree.
So there are a lot of announcements which have been happening and which would keep on happening. For example, on the EV infrastructure side, we all know that what the government is talking about on the green hydro energy side, and we've got a summit which is already happening in Bangalore today and tomorrow for the next 2-3 days, in which there are alliances which are to be led by the Indian government, and they would make some kind of alliances in order to make sure that we have got the hydro energy system which is pushed forward on a fast forward basis, so that India doesn't depend upon the fossil fuels or the kind of fuels which is basically a big drain on our resources.
Yeah. So there is a, as Atul mentioned, intent of the government is very clear that they want to give a fillip to the startup ecosystem. And
Just to give you one data, I mean, 3 years back, when, there was all these lip services or the talks which were happening that India by 2025 or 2026 would be able to penetrate at least 5% of the total vehicle consumption from the EV side. But now we've got the data coming from the expert agencies, which they say that by 2025, or rather 2024 itself, by end of next financial year, we would have almost 10% of the of the vehicles. I mean, leave aside the passenger vehicles, but on the two-wheeler and on the three-wheeler side, there would be about say 13-40% penetration of the electric vehicles.
yeah.
So that means it is happening. It is happening, of course, with a lot of push outside the budget. And other thing is that the blending of the ethanol with the fuel and all that, the government had set the target that by 2023 or December 2022, there would be 10% of the total fuel consumption which would be through the blended fuel, and they have already achieved it ahead of its time schedule. And by
Yeah.
2000, and they said that by 2030 it would be 20%, but then they have pushed that forward by 5 years. By 2025, it would be 20%.
You know why they have done it by 5 years? Because, I've been associated with ethanol blending from 2002 when I was working with a multinational called SABIC of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
We had, introduced MTBE into the Indian market with Indian Oil Corporation for, the fuel blending system. Today Brazil is at 50-60% ethanol blending. And I visited Brazil. There in the petrol pump, in one pump you get ethanol, in one pump you get petrol. So you can mix it. But After 20%, you need to change the engine of your vehicles.
Mhm.
So that's a major thing. Till 20%, you can use the same what we are using right now.
Mhm.
But beyond 20%, there is a catch that you need to change the engine. So there will be a major, hold up in the system, ecosystem and that. That's why they may have moved it.
Yeah, but at least going up to 30% should not be a challenge. And they have been able to achieve that ahead of time speaks volumes about the push outside the budget. So because important is the execution of the policies or the announcement which they have made in the budget or
That's
outside
right.
the budget.
There
That's
is
right.
no doubt. Earlier, we were hardly moving anything on ethanol blending. At least we have moved so much. This is really commendable.
And with a lot of emphasis on mobility startups now, they are this lithium ion battery and a lot of swappable battery systems are being looked at. So a lot of delivery ecosystem is going to be on EVs. So already startups like Zip and there are a couple of others, they are actually doing big time service for using the EVs for delivery systems.
But we don't have lithium with us in our country.
Yeah, but anyway, they are
Yeah,
now.
that is the reason why they have given some incentives on the import of the
Yes,
lithium
yes,
ion
yes.
battery side from China.
So we will still be dependent on imports on that.
Yeah, that is, of course, I understand. But yes, the intent is very clear that we should be more and more EV oriented, and our EV ecosystem should develop as quickly as possible. All right, thank you very much. I think we have exceeded the time, but the topic was interesting, and thank you for being connected with startup change leaders, and we'll continue to share our knowledge base every week.
Thanks a lot for the
you.
wonderful
Thank
session.
you. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you, Rajiv ji, for this
Thank you,
wonderful session.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.